Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the virtual School of Continuing Studies today. And actually, good evening to those of you who are joining us from overseas. My name is Ina Popova. I have the privilege of being responsible for professional development programs at McGill School of Continuing Studies. And today, our guest is professional and personal coach, Robert Wise, who teaches several professional development workshops at the School of Continuing Studies, including time management and stress management. And also Robert delivers a lot of training internally for McGill employees on multiple topics related to personal development. So Robert, the floor is yours. And we are going to talk today about some very important aspects in our life related to mental health.
Great, thank you, Ina. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure. I've been doing a lot of workshops for McGill University. This is my first virtual one, so excited to see how this goes. So just a little bit more about me very quickly. I co-founded an anxiety and depression clinic. It's called Rise Anxiety and Depression Clinic, where we help people with anxiety, depression, life challenges, fears, phobias, lots of different things that help with mental health that people need help with for their mental health. I also wrote a book, and I'm very excited today to talk about a topic that is really affecting a lot of people. I mean, these are definitely challenging times, and this is going to be a very important talk to help you guys with your mental health during these challenging times. I spoke to Ina about this, and I'm really good with you guys asking questions throughout the presentation. I will try to answer them during the presentation. If I need to wait, I'll answer them after, but I like it to be interactive and engaging, so please feel free to send your questions, and let's get on to mental health and coping during COVID-19. Okay, so the first thing, let me get to my, okay. So worries and anxiety about COVID-19 can be very overwhelming. Social distancing makes it even more challenging. So today we're going to learn ways on how to deal with your mental health so you are able to cope during these uncertain, challenging times. So I'm going to go through some basic information, and then we're going to go into the real meat of what needs to be done to help you with your mental health. So first thing is, you definitely need to make sure that you are taking care of your body. Your physical health is key. Physical health is key to wellness. You want to make sure that you're moving. You also want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. So it's really important to go to bed at a certain time and then wake up at the same time each day. This is extremely important to regulate your body, especially now when things are so unregulated in terms of scheduling. You want to practice sleep hygiene. Key component to physical mental health is physical activity. Now, even before all of this happened, we would tell people who are struggling with anxiety, stress, depression, to make sure that you are working out. Make sure that you are sweating at least once a day to release those positive endorphins. So you want to make sure that you are daily working out. Add that to your routine. I know I'm sure you've heard this many times, but it's extremely important to physically be active during these times. You want to make sure you're eating healthy. I'm seeing a lot of people who are eating a lot of junk food. They're eating a lot of like donuts, chips, all of this because they're looking for that instant pleasure. But you want to make sure that you're eating healthy. Eating healthy is extremely important for your mental and physical well-being. Choose a balanced diet, and definitely you want to limit your amount of caffeine. I'm going to tell you right now, caffeine is a stimulant. It can actually create more anxiety if you ingest too much of it. So be mindful of how much you're consuming in terms of coffee, even cigarettes, tobacco, drinking. Make sure that you are mindful of what am I consuming. Especially now during these times, you want to be very mindful about what you're eating and what you're putting into your body. You want to limit screen time. I'm seeing a lot of people watching a lot of television, a lot of electronics, playing video games. You want to limit screen times at least 30 minutes during the day and at least 30 minutes before you go to sleep. This has a detrimental effect on the body when you're constantly stimulating it with the screen time. You want to make sure that you're taking some time away from the screen. And let's talk about taking care of your mind. You want to reduce stress triggers. Maintaining a regular schedule is important to maintain your mental health. A lot of people are not on a regular schedule anymore, and what's happening is they're starting to feel sluggish, they're feeling tired, they're feeling more anxious because they're not used to the lack of structure. So today I want to help you guys implement ways to have more structure so you could feel mentally better and physically better. You've got to, this is an extremely important one, I'm sure you've heard it before, is to limit your exposure to news media. If you're going to constantly be watching television, constantly be watching about COVID-19 and this is happening and that's happening and now it's affecting my neighborhood, now it's affecting this person, it's going to create more anxiety. You want to limit the amount of time you spend watching the news. There's only so much news that you need to take in. So you want to make sure that you're not overstimulating yourself with constantly watching news programs that induce fear, because that's what they're doing. It's actually inducing anxiety and fear. So you want to be mindful of that. Now, on the topic very quickly on anxiety, does anybody, I don't know how to, I'll do the chats, but does anybody know what is anxiety? Does anybody know how they would define anxiety? So these are uncertain, anxious times, and I want to just put a definition to what is anxiety to really help you guys understand what it is. Anxiety is anticipatory fear. It is fear of fear. It's fear of the unknown. So what happens with anxiety is we get worried about what if something happens. It hasn't happened yet, but we're worried that it can happen or it will happen or it might happen. So that is anxiety. Anxiety means that you are worried about something that has not happened yet, and you have a physiological response to what you're worried about. So you could imagine if you're watching the news, how anxiety-inducing that would be for you, because you're watching something and then you're having an anticipatory fear reaction to what you're watching. It's like, oh my goodness, now what if this happens to me? What if this happens to someone I love? What if this, what if this? So what it does is it creates more anxiety. So you want to be mindful of what you're watching, and you also want to be mindful of what you are thinking, because your thoughts have a lot of power and a lot of control over your reactions is what you're thinking. Because if you're going to think something's going to happen, you're going to feel like something's going to happen, you're going to feel scared and anxious. So we want to make sure that you are mindful of what you're thinking, what you're watching, what you're doing. That's key component to good mental health, is being mindful. So let's talk about, how are you speaking to yourself? These are very challenging times. Are you being kind to yourself, or are you being critical to yourself? Are you being compassionate to yourself, or are you being hard on yourself? I'll give you an example. I have people who, people who really are going through a very challenging time. They did not get sick with the disease. They don't know people who got sick with the disease, but they themselves are going through a challenging time for their own reasons. They've lost their job, or they can't get married, and they feel angry at themselves because they're like, well, I'm being selfish. So many people are dying, so many people are getting sick, and here I am feeling selfish. I'm such a bad person. I'm all about myself. Be mindful of how you speak to yourself. These are hard times, and you have the right to feel bad about them. You have the right to say, you know what, this is hard for me. And I want you to practice what's called the compassionate voice. The compassionate voice is you not criticizing your feelings, but acknowledging them and accepting them and not putting a judgment on them. So you want to make sure that when you are saying things like, oh, I have no right to be sad. It's not fair, I shouldn't be sad. Well, why not? Why can't you be sad? Why can't you be hurt? Why can't you feel bad about a situation? So let's stop judging our thoughts and judging ourselves. These are hard times for everybody. We all have a reason to be sad or hurt about it. So let's show ourselves love and compassion is extremely important, especially during these times, that we're not shaming ourselves, that we're not putting blame on ourselves, and we're not judging our feelings as selfish, as stupid, as narcissistical, because ultimately we are hurt and we have lost things right now, and that's okay. We need to acknowledge that and accept that, rather than to feel bad about that and to judge that. I have a Q&A. I'm just going to click on this. What if these times at home just emphasize your own failures? What if these times at home? You know, I'm going to tell you, I think that that question is we're going to go into mind traps, and that question actually seems to be going into where we're going to be going into along this presentation. So I'll be able to answer that question very quickly, very soon. Okay, so let's go now to my next slide. Okay, so we're going to poll here on this slide. This is really one of my favorite things to talk about because it's very common. We do it a lot, and we got to be mindful of what we're doing and what we're saying to ourselves. So we're going to take a poll. I think Ina's going to poll. Yes, so we're going to poll. Okay, so I just pulled up a poll for you guys. I would really appreciate if you could answer this poll, which is, which mind traps do you tend to fall into the most? Is it catastrophizing, black or white thinking, fortune telling, should statements, jumping to conclusions? And someone just sent me a question that had a real black or white statement to it. So that person who wrote me that question, who feels like they're a failure, they seem to be looking at things very black or white. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is great. So let's see the results. And I'm going to go through each one of these mind traps with you guys. So to take care of your mental health is to be mindful of what are you thinking, what are you saying to yourself. So let's figure it out. Let's figure out what's going on. And I'm going to give you guys a wonderful strategy, by the way, to help you with these mind traps, okay? So if you guys have a pen and paper, it would be great, because I'm going to go through a strategy with you guys. It's going to help you recognize, challenge, and change these thoughts. Okay, so we're almost done. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I see really popular is the jumping to conclusions. I'm going to go through each one very quickly, and I'm going to help you guys challenge the jumping to conclusion one right now. Okay, so jumping to conclusion is the number one. Thank you guys for polling, by the way. Jumping to conclusions is the number one mind trap that is the most common based on this poll. Okay, so let's go through all of them quickly. Catastrophizing, what does that mean? Catastrophizing means you are going to the worst case scenario. Catastrophizing means it's the end. It's like I didn't get an email back from this person. They're going to fire me. They're mad at me. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to end up on the streets. So that is worst case scenario. Black or white thinking is either it's good or it's bad. It's yes or it's no. There's no gray area. Fortune telling is when we say things like, oh, I just know tomorrow Susie's not going to call me. She's going to play a game with me. You are fortune telling by saying something that hasn't happened yet, but you think it's going to happen in the future. Should statements is you're scolding yourself. So a should statement is, oh, I really should be doing more work. I should be going to the gym more. I should be eating better. So that's a scold way of speaking to yourself. We're scolding ourselves into doing something. That's a should statement. And jumping to conclusions. Jumping to conclusions is similar in terms of catastrophizing, but you're not necessarily going to the worst case scenario. You're just jumping to a conclusion. So I'll give you an example. Susie didn't call you. She's mad at me. Oh, she must be mad at me. Somebody sends you one emoji on your phone. Oh, they're not happy with me. No, they're not in a good state with me. So that's a jumping to a conclusion. You are basically jumping to a conclusion with no facts. You're basing it on a story you're telling yourselves. Okay? Actually, basically, all mind traps lack evidence and facts. And that's why we have to be very mindful of mind traps. Okay, so let's talk about jumping to conclusions, which is one of the most popular mind traps that I see. How do you challenge a jumping to conclusion? Okay, so this is what I'm going to suggest you guys do. It's called a thought record. So if everybody could take their pen or paper and write down the word trigger, T-R-I-G-G-E-R. Write down the word trigger. Your trigger is what is making you feel a certain way. So a trigger could be, Susie didn't call me today. That could be your trigger. Susie did not call me today. The next thing you'd write is emotion. How does that make you feel that Susie didn't call you today? It makes me feel angry. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel hurt. Then the next thing you want to write is your automatic self-talk. What are you thinking about Susie not calling you? Well, I think that she's mad at me. I think she's playing a game. I think that I'm always doing so much and she doesn't do enough for me. That's your automatic self-talk. So now what you want to do is you want to find your alternative self-talk. The way to do that is you need to recognize which mind traps am I falling into. So you're thinking, well, she never calls me. She doesn't care. She's this. So you are jumping to a conclusion. You don't know that Susie didn't call you because she doesn't care. You don't know that. So you are jumping to a conclusion. So the way to challenge that is, what evidence do I have that says that Susie doesn't care? What evidence do I have that that she's mad at me or that she doesn't care about me the same way I care about her? So that is how you challenge a mind trap. What evidence do I have? And if I do have evidence, what is the solution I can come up with to feel better about the situation? So if you're finding yourself jumping to a conclusion, challenge the thought that is making you feel triggered. Challenge the thought. So this all comes down to challenging. Like if someone says, well, I feel like a failure. I think I'm not doing anything right. Okay, what makes you believe that? And is that completely true? Are you never doing anything right? Have you ever done things that were right? So you want to be able to challenge your thoughts by finding what evidence do I have to support this, and what is the solution I can do to feel better about the situation if I have evidence to support it. But in most cases, we don't have the evidence. In most cases, when we're jumping to a conclusion, it's just based on a story that we are telling ourselves. So you want to be mindful of your thoughts, and you want to be mindful of your triggers, and you want to be mindful if you're falling into a mind trap, because if you're falling into a mind trap, you are creating a recipe for anxiety. So just be mindful of that. Do we have any questions? Oh, we do have a question. Okay. Hi, well, we know anxiety at a certain level is good, but how do we know when we are exceeding the good levels of anxiety that could be harmful? That's a wonderful question. Okay, so anxiety, let me just be very clear. Anxiety is here in our bodies to protect us, okay? So let's say there is a snake in front of me. I need to know I'm in danger. My anxiety is helping me prepare for the fact that I have a danger and I need to respond accordingly. So there is where my anxiety is good for me. I have a danger, I have a present threat. I now need to know what to do to protect myself. Now my anxiety is good. But when I start to worry and panic and there's no present danger, that is when anxiety becomes a danger, because all of a sudden my body is physiologically reacting to something that has not happened yet. It could happen, but it didn't happen. So now my body is getting sweaty. My heart is racing. I'm feeling panic, but it hasn't happened yet. So my anxiety is not there to protect me at this point. It's there to scare me and hurt me. So anxiety is good to a point, but once it's getting to the point where you are sweating, when you are scared, when you are restless, and there is no present danger, there is where your anxiety may be getting out of the control that you want it to be. Because anxiety is good, but not when it's not helping you, not when it's not serving you, not when there's danger in front of you. Why do I have so much trouble getting rid of nagging, anxious thoughts? That's a good question. We're used to it. I'll give you a very easy answer. We are used to being anxious. I think we're almost like conditioned. Be worried about going to bed too late. Make sure that you're home on time. Make sure that you do this. Make sure you get that done. So we have been conditioned. A lot of us have been conditioned. A lot of us come from maybe parents who are anxious. So it's almost like it's a conditioning, and we're so used to it that we just constantly do it. Also, to answer that question on another level, is that there is a sense of control, false control, but some sense of control. If I worry about it, I kind of could control it. If I think about it, then I'm going to be able to control it. But I got to tell you guys right now that control is an illusion. So you think by, oh, if I worry about it, I'm going to be in control of it. But the truth is, you're not in control of it, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. And ultimately, we don't have control. So it gives us a false sense of control, and that's why it's nagging you, because it kind of feels like, well, if I think about it, I can control it. So it's two levels. One, we're conditioned. Two, it kind of feels uncomfortably comfortable to be anxious. How do you help a loved one or coworker? How do you help a loved one or coworker when you see them with high levels of anxiety, even you try to challenge the anxious thoughts? Okay, I'm going to give you a technique for this. This is actually something that I would recommend that you do with somebody, even to help yourself. If you see somebody who is anxious, the first thing I would do is tell them, and this is what I do, tell them, you know what, I understand. So you want to show empathy, okay? You want to show them empathy. You don't want to dismiss the anxiety. And then you want to say to them, I understand, I get it. Let's take a breath. And I think that is crucial when people are anxious and they're scared. It's not the time to have a rational conversation, because think about anxiety. You are anticipating something's going to happen, which means you're not exactly 100% rational. You're emotional. So you're not 100% rational. Sorry, you're not 100% rational. So it's very hard to communicate with somebody who's not 100% rational because they're so emotional. So you'll tell them, you know what, let's take a breath, let's take a pause. So I'm really big on, when I have a client that comes into my office and they're highly anxious, I say, you know what, I understand, I get it. I understand that you're scared, you're worried. Let's take a breath. Let's just take a breath, okay? And I would highly recommend that you guys help them and help yourself by taking a breath. The way I tell people to breathe is you breathe in a flower, you blow out a candle. So just take a breath. That's like taking a pause. So before you could do anything, take that pause. So it's a breathe in and a breathe out. It's a, that's first and foremost. You want to take a breath. Okay. Performance stress is a kind of anxiety. It is another kind of mind trap, or part of the 4 mind traps. Performance stress is a kind of anxiety. It's another kind of stress. Well, performance stress, you know, it's kind of it could be also a good stress. I don't want to like talk about anxiety and stress as like all bad. You know, we put stress because it actually helps us. It depends. Like performance stress actually could be a good stress. It depends on how you're using it. It could basically try to keep you motivated, keep you on your toes. It's only a mind trap if you start saying things like this. Oh my goodness, I just know that I'm going to fall. I just know that I'm not going to do well. I just know this is not going to work out. Well, then you're fortune telling. Then you're jumping to conclusions. Oh, I'm going to make a fool out of myself. It's going to be horrible. Well, maybe then you're catastrophizing. So it really depends on what you're thinking. But if you're just stressed, like oh, I want to do a great job and I want to give the best I can be, well, that's not necessarily a mind trap. That actually could be good stress that's going to help you motivate you to do a good job. So this sounds to me like it's a healthy stress. It's only an unhealthy stress if you start going into those mind traps. Then you're talking an unhealthy stress, an unhealthy anxiety. What can you do to get rid of that tight stomach feeling that lingers even when you aren't actively thinking anxious thoughts? Okay, well, you need to, Jennifer, you need to practice what I'm going to tell you guys you need to practice, which is being mindful. So I'm going to tell you why we have this tightening feeling in our chest, even after the anxious thought is gone. It's because, think about what anxiety is. You are disconnecting from yourself. You are not connected with yourself. You're not mindful. Your mind is there. So it's almost like it creates such a physiological response that our bodies start to feel tired, tight, anxious, our arm hurts. So what you want to do is you want to be mindful. You want to absolutely practice what's called mindfulness. And to help you with that feeling, I would suggest that you practice mindfulness daily. It will help you reconnect with yourself, be mindful of your thoughts, help you challenge those thoughts quickly so you won't have these pains. So I really will suggest that you guys practice a mindful meditation. Even if you've never meditated before, it takes 5 minutes and it will absolutely help you to reconnect with yourself. Also, by you being more connected to yourself, you'll be able to recognize your thoughts, challenge them quicker, change them to be healthy thoughts, and you will feel better. You will feel better. So you want to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness also includes breathing. And to answer Jennifer's question again, the breath I just showed you, you want to do those multiple times a day, maybe 15 to 20 times a day. Breathe in a candle, breathe in a flower, blow out a candle, 15 to 20 times a day. This will help you reconnect with yourself. Remember, anxiety is like this. It's you away from yourself. So taking a breath brings you back to yourself. Think about what anxiety does. Anxiety takes you away. You want to bring yourself back. How do you do that? Through breathing, through taking a breath, through being mindful. So you absolutely want to be practicing breathing. And I would suggest that you guys do it 15 to 25 times during the day. And sometimes my clients will say to me, well, I don't have time to do that. It's just breathing. So yes, you have time to do that. And it's actually good for you and it will keep you focused and mindful. My mom is in a senior residence and I haven't seen her in 5 weeks. She is confined to her room. I've been talking to her on the phone several times a day. She is bipolar, visually impaired, and has delirium episodes. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling very sad about the situation and have been crying a lot and feeling very emotional. I feel like I'm in a breaking point. Okay, so first of all, I have a lot of empathy for you. It's a really challenging time right now, especially for people in senior homes. What I would suggest though that you do is that you practice very important self-care. So I understand that you're concerned, worried, but you need to fill in your pockets. So it sounds to me, that you're feeling somewhat depleted. And what happens is when you're feeling at a breaking point, it means that your body is starting to feel emotionally, maybe even physically depleted. So you want to practice self-care. I understand that your mom is in a home. I understand that you're worried. I understand you're scared. You still need to take time to fill your pockets emotionally, which would mean take a walk, listen to some music, take a bath, do something to give yourself some self-care, because this sounds to me like you're feeling very overwhelmed, very worried, which means that you're in a constant state of panic. That means, what are you doing to take care of yourself? The fact that you're at a breaking point is showing me that your tank is on empty. And you know what? You can't help people when your tank is on empty. You can't help people if your pockets are empty. So I'm going to encourage you to fill your pockets. Take 5 minutes today to do something for yourself. Something that doesn't require you thinking or worrying about anything. Something that helps you to be in the present and be in the moment. Because there's nothing you can do. You cannot change the situation. You don't have that kind of control. But what you can do is change the way you treat yourself, the way you talk to yourself, and the way that you behave. That you have control over. So take those 5 minutes. It sounds like you really need them and you want to have them. It's your right to have that time to take care of yourself. Is denial as a defense mechanism at this stage during Corona a good strategy or not? Is denial? No, denial is not denial reminds me of the avoidance strategy. It's like, I'm going to avoid it so I don't have to deal with it, but it doesn't change things. So I wouldn't be denying of what's going on. I wouldn't be in denial, although this is a grieving period of time and denial is a stage of grief, which is, I don't want to accept this, so I understand it. But I think the best stage to get into is the acceptance stage, which is the stage of, this is happening, I need to accept this is happening, and I need to make the best of the situation as hard as the situation is. So the denial stage is actually, I think it's the first stage of grief, but I think that you want to work towards acceptance, not denial. That would be my suggestion. With everything going on, there are times that we may need additional support. Should we also be reaching out to see if we have resources available through our employee info social? So I have good news for you. My clinic, actually, Rise Anxiety and Depression Clinic, is the insurance receipts that we offer are covered by McGill Insurance. So I'm happy to report that the people from McGill who come to see us, they do get a significant reimbursement for their services. I highly recommend that that you guys would reach out. I'm going to suggest absolutely my clinic, because everybody on my team is specialized, and I use this word because it's an important word, specialized with anxiety and depression and fears. Why do you want someone specialized? Because this way you will get the tools and strategies to help you right away. It's not talk therapy where you're spending a lot of time talking about your anxiety. This is more solutions. What can you do to feel better? So I would highly recommend that you reach out to somebody at Rise Anxiety and Depression Clinic. I'm going to give you guys on this slide all the contact information, and it is significantly covered by McGill in the insurance. Yeah, so our clinic does work online. I still see clients in person. We are an essential service, but all of our, by the way, I just want to be clear, all of our mental health professionals are licensed. They are, they're masters, they are specialized, and they are covered by insurance. And they do work online, and that's basically the majority of our clients right now is through our online platforms. So when we have mindful and cause anxiety, how can I stop this? When we have mindful. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something interesting about mindfulness. Mindfulness and anxiety, they don't go together. So you cannot be mindful and anxious at the same time. So you could have an anxious thought, but it means that you're not being mindful anymore, because mindfulness is being completely in the moment. So I'm going to give you a little tool, Michelle, that will help all of you, okay, to help you stay mindful and grounded. So with mindfulness, you're in the moment. With anxiety, you're in the future. Good news, you can't be mindful and anxious at the same time, which means the more mindful you are, the less anxious you can be. So I'm going to give you a great tool. It's called a grounding tool when you are feeling anxious, or even when you're not feeling anxious. Let's say you just want to reconnect with yourself because you just want to ground yourself. This is what I suggest you do. Connect with each and every one of your senses. So you want to look around you and find 5 things that you see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you could smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So when you're feeling anxious, do something that's called grounding. And grounding is a way to connect you to yourself in the moment, using any one of your senses, if not all your senses. Perfect. And just to go back to that question, when you're in a mindful state and then your thought goes to an anxious thought, it's okay. We can't stop our thoughts from coming. Just bring yourself back to the mindful state. Just say, okay, I don't want to worry about this now. Come back to the moment. So even if your thought goes to an anxious thought, it's okay. Doesn't mean you got to feed it. Doesn't mean you got to answer it. Doesn't mean you got to worry about it. Bring yourself back to the mindful moment. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. This is a key component to happiness. One of the greatest elements of a happier life is gratitude. So I like this practice. I use this practice every night. What am I grateful for? Now, a lot of people are struggling with gratitude right now. They're like, well, what am I grateful for? I lost this, I lost that, I can't see this one, I can't do this, I'm stuck, okay? But through all of this, there are things to be grateful for. An appreciation for our technology, an appreciation for our bed, an appreciation for having food in our fridge. So we need to still be able to find the gratitude within the storm. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And the problem with that is that they stay into victim. If we don't practice gratitude and we practice anger or fear, then we become a victim. Like, oh, look at this, look at my life, look what happened to me. How could this have happened? And I never met a happy victim in my life. So you don't want to feel victimized. You don't want to feel sad about your circumstances. You want to still find the positivity within the storm. Because if you're going to focus on the negative, if you're going to focus on what you lost, if you're going to focus on what you don't have, well, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel the way you are thinking, which is a victim, which is, I don't have this, I don't have that, I lost this, I lost that, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you focus on that, imagine how you're going to feel. So I'm going to encourage you all to practice gratitude daily. What am I grateful for? This is scientifically proven to spark more happiness and joy in your mind and in your body by doing this. So I absolutely encourage you guys to practice gratitude. I love this quote, the psychological phenomenon of emotional contagion. We catch emotions from other people. If I'm happier and calmer, I'll help the other people in my household to stay happier and calmer. The way I tell people, anxiety is contagious. If you are going to be anxious, the people around you are going to feel anxious. So you want to set the tone. And the way to set the tone is to be mindful of your emotions and how you're speaking and how you're reacting, because it's contagious. So we got to make sure that we are practicing mindfulness, that we are managing our emotions, and that we're not creating more fear, because what we do is contagious. If people see you anxious and scared and worried, they're going to feel anxious, scared, and worried. If you went into an elevator and everyone said, oh my God, it's going to get stuck, you would get worried, you would get scared. So be mindful of the way that you are speaking to yourself, the way you're speaking to other people. Be mindful of how you are behaving, because ultimately, you want to make sure that you're not creating more anxiety and that you're not so anxious. Here's a very important tool: connect with others, build support and strengthen relationships, make virtual connections, do something for others, support a family member or friend. Part of feeling better also is doing for others during this time. So a lot of times if we stay within our story, within ourselves, we're going to feel anxious, we're going to feel sad, we're going to feel worried. So try doing something for somebody else. Reach out to somebody. I've actually been reaching out to people who have done a lot of good things in my life for me, and I'm reaching out to just show them gratitude and appreciation, because I think it's a great time right now to get out of our head and to focus on helping other people also. This is a hard time for everybody, so let's work on helping others as well. You want to make sure that you are relaxing and recharging. Set aside time for yourself. Even a few minutes of quiet time every day is crucial for your mental health. You need this time. You need time. It doesn't matter what you use the time for, as long as you take the time for yourself to rejuvenate yourself. It goes back to what I said before. You need to fill your pockets. If you want to be able to give to others, you need to be able to have something to give. And if you are feeling depleted, worried, stressed, and anxious, then you're not in a position to help people. So definitely take time to relax and recharge. It's crucial for your mental health. It is not selfish. It's mandatory. You need it. It's like saying it's selfish to recharge your phone. It needs to be recharged. So be mindful of yourself and what you need to recharge your batteries. And I'm very big on practicing mindful meditation. So you want to take time to meditate. You want to take time to find that calm space. So what I help my clients do a lot is practice being in a place of peace, in a place of being mindful. So I wanted to do a really quick mindful meditation exercise with all of you, and I will guide it. And if you guys could all get comfortable, we will do a little meditating right now, like for 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask you all to put your shoulders back, chest lifted. And get into a comfortable position. So this is going to be a 5-minute guided meditation, which I'm going to do for you. So if you guys could get comfortable, you could even close your eyes, ideally, and just follow what I will be saying for the next 5 minutes. You don't need to speak at all during this meditation. I'm just going to guide you. So I want to just show you the power of mindful meditation. So this will help you to understand how effective this tool is. Okay, so getting comfortable, closing your eyes. I'm going to ask you to take a breath in and a breath out. So with your eyes closed, sitting comfortably, taking a breath in and a breath out. Very nice. So with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine a place where you feel completely safe. So close your eyes, go to a place where you feel completely safe. There's no anxiety, there's no fear, there's no stress. You feel completely at peace. remembering to breathe in and to breathe out. Nice. With your eyes closed, you are in your safe place. What do you see? So look around your safe place. What do you see around you? Take a moment to look around your safe place. What do you see? Taking a breath in and a breath out. With your eyes closed, you're in your safe place. What can you touch? What do you feel? What do you touch? What do you feel in your safe place? With your eyes closed, taking a breath in and a breath out. What do you feel in your safe place? Your sense of touch. Taking a breath in and a breath out. With your eyes closed. What do you hear? What do you hear? What are the sounds that you hear in your safe place? With your eyes closed, what do you hear? Taking a breath in and a breath out. And with your eyes closed, you're in your safe place. What do you smell? What do you smell in your safe place? With your eyes closed, what do you smell? Taking a breath in and a breath out. And with your eyes closed, what do you taste? What do you taste in your safe place? Taking a breath in and a breath out. So just take a moment now about how you feel in your safe place. The peace that you feel. No anxiety, no stress, no fear, just complete peace within your safe place. So take that in. Take that feeling in. And let's take a breath in and a breath out. And we will take 2 more breaths before we'll open our eyes and come back to this safe place. So breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And when you're ready, you could open your eyes and come back to this moment. So I know we're kind of out of time, we're on the dot here. I would just be curious if anybody wants to write where they went during their safe place, or if people had trouble with the meditation. Because I would like to express something I think would be very interesting for you guys. So if you guys could just share really quickly where you went, what your safe place was, would be amazing. Just if you just put just a line of where your safe place was, great. I went to my grandparents' house, really nice. Walking the streets of Paris at night, the beach, wonderful, wonderful. The woods, great. Woods, beach, great. Sunny meadow with rusting grass and singing birds, fantastic. Sitting on my sofa, 2 places with my mom after my night shift, second on a big stone near the river, wonderful. Okay, so I actually want to give you guys a real interesting twist to the meditation that I just did, which is going to be really interesting and exciting. Sitting under a tree, amazing. Okay, so you guys spend 5 minutes imagining a safe place. Here is the twist, okay? So I got people writing in that they went to their grandma's house, they went walking in Paris, that they were sitting under a tree. But here's the interesting thing. Nobody left their space during that 5 minutes. So what they really did was they turned their mind into their safe place. Today, I have just proved to you how powerful our mind is. It can take you to a sunny beach, or it can take you to the scariest, most fearful moments you could imagine. You have the power to use your mind the way you choose. We just chose to use our mind to help us find peace, to find beaches, to find the woods, to find your grandmother's house. The same mind that we use to scare us, to give us high anxiety. Today, I have proven that your mind is your instrument and that you have the power to use it the way you choose to use it. And I'm going to encourage you all today to use it to help you, to take you to places that make you feel good, not places that scare you. Don't go to the places that scare you. Use that mind to take you to a beach. Use that mind to help you. So it's all how we choose to use our mind. And I'm going to encourage you to practice mindful meditation, because you know what? It gives you time to be in a place of peace and calm. And we need that. I just want to, so I just, strong option, thank you. You're welcome, Nancy. And you know, I'm going to tell you, we have a choice. We do. And a lot of people think we don't have choice, but we do have choice. We have the choice to be scared, angry, and fearful, which does not change anything, by the way. I want to be very clear. Being anxious, scared, and fearful does not change anything. So we have the choice to be anxious, scared, and fearful, or we have the choice to find calmness, to find peace, to find a sanctuary, to become our own safe space. You know, what's amazing about becoming your own safe space is you don't have to go anywhere to feel safe. You're safe. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to become, your own safe space. Like I said before, our emotions, our behaviors are contagious. So if you become a safe space, the people around you are going to feel safer, and you're going to feel safer to them too. I just wanted to see if there's, okay, good, I'll answer all the questions. So I want to thank you very much. Here's some information about the clinic that I co-founded. We do online and in person. We have services in English, French, and Spanish. We do individual, couple, and family counseling. We work with kids. There's a lot of kids feeling a lot of anxiety right now. We work with kids and we support them. So there's all the contact information. That's my number. There's our website information. I want to thank you very much. I want you to be well, stay safe, take care of your mental health. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. taking the time for being part of this extremely important webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert, for spending your time with us. I think everybody found this presentation extremely helpful. And we hope that people will join us tomorrow for our next webinar at 12:30. Thank you everyone for participating today. We will be sharing the recording of this webinar by email later. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.